Hello, Taylor County. I'm Alex Renneman again here with Dale E. Lee, voting for City Council Ward 3. Dale, thanks for joining us on the program.
It's nice to be here.
Great. Hey, why don't you start out, just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, my name is Dale Lee. I've lived in Grafton the biggest part of my life. I was born and raised at Thornton, and I married Romola Jennings, which was Junior Jennings' daughter, and we live out in Blueville, and I am trying to secure the place on the city council.
Great. So can you tell us a little bit from your perspective? I mean, I think most folks have an idea in their own mind of what a city council member does and is. Can you share with us a little bit about your perspective?
Well, my perspective is that the things brought before the council, they need to be not shoved under the table, but they need to be examined and looked at, each and every one of them, because there's quite a few different situations that come up that if everything's not looked at, then it can go bad on whoever is doing the situation.
Yeah, makes sense. Give us an example of something in your life, a challenge, an experience, a role, a job, whatever, that you feel has helped prepare you to be an effective leader for the city of Grafton.
Well, I got transferred to Richmond, Virginia in '93, and in '95 I was offered a supervisor's position in Richmond. I took that position, and you learn a lot from that because you've got so many different people, and all of them are not the same. And I had 23 men under me, and once I got to know everybody, everything runs smooth. And once they got to know me, everything runs smooth. But I feel that the biggest thing is you have to get to know the people you're working with.
Yeah, makes sense. So let's play this out. If you're elected, what would be your number one priority coming into the office?
My number one priority would be getting to know the other other council members, and also to find out what situations are going, and try to figure out between the rest of the council what a good answer to the problem is.
Yeah, makes sense. So following that through, after your term, or how many ever terms, whenever you're ready to lay down your gavel, your badge, whatever it might be, what would you like for your legacy to be as a city council member?
My legacy, I would like for people to think that I was there for them, for the people of Grafton, and I did everything I could to help them whenever they had a problem and they came to the council with it, that we would follow it through and give them an answer yes or no, and not just leave them hanging out in midair.
Yeah. From your vantage point, what's the biggest challenge we're facing as a city?
The biggest challenge we're facing as a city is to keep, and do I want to say this? Yeah, to keep the drugs off the street and keep our children safe and have a safe environment for our children to be in, not only the children, but for the senior citizens too. And that is one of the biggest things that and I just read in the paper the other day of everybody that was indicted for drugs and everything, and we need to work on that situation.
Yeah, you talk to anybody in the court system, the majority of our issues come from drugs. So from a city's perspective, and everybody in this nation is trying to figure out. I mean, we're in many ways ground zero in our region, but what can, as a city, what can we do, or what do you think you can do from a city's perspective to help curb the drug problem around here?
Well, I think I'm just going to speak for myself. I need to be out amongst the people to find out where the problems are so we can work on that situation. I need to listen to people when they call and they want to talk. The biggest thing is you don't want to snub anybody. You always need to examine what they're telling you and be involved in it. And then when you give them an answer, then you can actually say, well, I've been there.
Yeah, makes sense. So I think you might be aware, we reached out to the citizens to say, well, what questions might you have for particular offices? And there were several for the city council, and one of those was, and so I try to cobble them up into themes. And one of the themes was revitalization of downtown Grafton. And there's some incentives around the new facade matching program that the city just released, and other things. But obviously there's several demolition of buildings around town. And one of the themes was, okay, so we've got a little bit of money going into the facade stuff, and we've got a lot of money going into demolition. how much of that mix should be in prevention and rebuilding and those kind of things? Do you have a perspective on that, or what's your thoughts around what the city can do there?
Well, the city is in a situation where they've got a lot of buildings, houses, other buildings that need tore down because there's nobody in them. I don't know what their percentage is they get from the state to do this. I know if it's asbestos, then it's very expensive to tear one down. But as far as that, I think we need to look around and see where we can spend some of the money instead of just demolition and whatever, to revamp some of these buildings like the Willard Hotel and the station and all that had just fell by the wayside, without tearing these buildings down, especially the Willard Hotel. And some of the money ought to be put back in it to make it safe for people to be in and to put businesses in it if we have to.
Yeah. So one of the other things that was common on there was transportation, and a bus service keeps coming up. And I understand there were some efforts in the past for that, but what is your perspective or your exposure to the feasibility of a bus service in Grafton?
I'm going to say that a bus service in Grafton would be good for the older people, but how much will it be utilized? That's another thing. I don't know how much the people of Grafton utilize the taxi service down here. But if it was just picking them up and taking them different places, I could see where a bus service would help with all the senior citizens we have in Grafton.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that kept coming up, and I have to bring it up. I'm not sure it's a fair characterization, but one of the themes was, from our solutions as a city are stuck in the past. And so the questions were around, how progressive, and that's not a progressive or conservative conversation, but how forward-thinking do you think you'll be as a leader in the city council?
I'm looking forward to Grafton becoming a tourist attraction for different things, but the whole idea is everybody on the council has to work together to want this.
Sure.
If you've got anybody on the council that doesn't want to progress, doesn't want change, and then you've got problems. Because before, I was on the council for 6 years, and we ran into different situations where part of the council was for it, part of the council wasn't. And then you got the long drawn out affair of having to plead your case and let them plead their case. But the whole idea is, if we don't look forward and we don't try to bring Grafton to the front, then it's going to wind up like Newburgh or one of those towns.
Yeah, so, and I think you may be touching on something, maybe a perfect segue into, so if you were to sit back, a glass of tea, recliner, whatever it is, and you think your vision for Grafton, what does it look like? Paint that vision for the folks at home.
Well, my vision for Grafton is to see it like it was, well, not to see it like it was because half the buildings are gone, but when I was growing up, you come downtown, you couldn't hardly walk up and down the sidewalks because everybody was in town, because that's where you had the businesses. But now it seems like to me the big businesses want to move out of Grafton, so they won't be down in town. But our main object or whatever, we need to see if we can't get some stable businesses in downtown Grafton and get the people coming back into Grafton. And it's just going to be hard to do, but if we all work together, I believe it can be done.
Yeah. So, as is customary on this program, we offer the last floor to you, the last word. What is it you'd like to tell the people of the city of Grafton?
I would like to tell the people of Grafton that I'll be there for you. It makes no difference if it's Ward 3, if it's West Side, whatever. If there's any problems that you have, that all you have to do is call me, and I will get involved in those problems, and I will do everything in my power to take it before the council to get it solved or get it resolved. And I am in there working for the people of Grafton, not for myself.
Dale E. Lee, City Council, Ward 3. Dale, thanks for coming and good luck.
Thank you, buddy.